Welcome to the channel. Today on the Maple Gunner, I'm going to be reviewing air rifles. Specifically, the Crosman AK1 and the Crosman DPMS SBR. First, I want to get the disclaimers out of the way. I have no relationship with Crosman. The air rifles, their accessories, the CO2 air cartridges, the BBs, everything you've seen in the video was purchased for and provided by me. Crosman, if you're watching this and you want to sponsor me, you know how to get a hold of me. Also, I am not a firearms expert. However, I do endeavor to give you the most accurate information possible. If I have missed something or said something incorrectly, please let me know in the comment section below. Where these particular air rifles use magazines to store the CO2 and the BBs, there's no need to clear the air rifles because there's no BBs in the chamber and there's nothing to power the BBs and get them down the barrel. Plus, if you slide the bolt back, it doesn't go back very far, so unless you have a crooked eye, you're not going to see in there anyways. I'm going to start with the Crosman AK1. Except for the internals, this air rifle is a very good replica of a modern AK. And on this particular air rifle, I've attached a Magpul foregrip and a Tasco red dot sight. The reason for attaching a red dot to this air rifle is for accuracy. It does have iron sights, get your front post sight here, and it does have an adjustable rear notch sight, just like on an AK. However, this being an air rifle and being woefully underpowered compared to a 7.62x3.9 cartridge, I have found that using a red dot greatly improves accuracy, and I can zero it for the distance I'm shooting at, and as long as I'm firing in semi-automatic mode, my BBs are going to go where the red dot goes. The manual of arms for this air rifle AK is the same as the manual of arms on a real AK. Flip it over so you can see. You'll notice the charging handle is on the right side. It's not ambidextrous. Functions just like that of an AK charging handle. The magazine release is a paddle release, like that on an AK. Even the fire selector switch is just like that on a real AK. It has 3 select fire positions. The first position, when it's fully up, is for safe. You move it down 1, it's full auto. You're ready to rock and roll. The final position is semi-auto, or repetition. You're firing 1 round every time you depress the trigger. On this air rifle, there is lots of real estate for you to install whatever gadgets, optics, accessories, anything you want. There's all kinds of pick rail space. Now, the pick rails, of course, are some sort of polymer, and the pick rail on the top is polymer as well. However, being an air rifle, you're not going to be shooting at great distances where you're going to have to worry about losing zero on your air rifle. I've found so far that I have not lost zero with this optic, and I've had this air rifle for about a year. The buttstock is fully adjustable, so you can adjust it for your length of pull. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 settings. And on top of that, the This buttstock is also foldable. It folds to the left side. The air rifle can be fired with the buttstock folded. However, note, there is no retention mechanism to keep the stock from swinging freely, depending on how you're holding it or moving. Now let's take a look at the Crosman DPMS SBR. SBR standing for Short Barreled Rifle. As far as DPMS, I believe it has to do with a manufacturing company. Maybe Crosman got rights to use that acronym in conjunction with this rifle. I'm not sure. Please take that with a grain of salt. If anyone knows for sure, I'd love to know. Please let me know in the comment section below. Okay, moving on. On the front, there's an angled foregrip. This came with the rifle, and I put a Nico Sterling red dot optic on the top. This one looks like a Trigicon ACOG. Believe me, it's a very poor man's version of that optic. However, for this air rifle, it works great. And again, I put a red dot on this air rifle for accuracy. It does have flip-up sights. Back one won't go up all the way with that red dot on there. But they're much to be desired, and I find the air rifle far more accurate with a red dot that you can zero for the distance you're shooting at. The manual of arms is just like that on a modern AR-15. I'm going to flip it around. You have your magazine release right here. It's a push-button mag release, just like on an AR. And I'm going to flip it around again. And on this side, there's a functioning bolt release as well. And your select fire switch. And it's also non-ambidextrous. So you have safe, semi-auto, and full auto. And the charging handle functions as well. And the dust cover does flip down when you charge it, or if it's up and you start firing, and the reciprocating mass inside this rifle that is imitating the function of a bolt moving back and forth as you fire it will also knock that down, like on a real AR-15. Now, both of these air rifles do have last bolt hold open. On an AR-15, I know there is last bolt hold open, and when you insert your fresh mag, you hit the bolt catch and it will move that reciprocating mass forward, just like moving the bolt forward on an AR and loading a round. However, with these particular firearms, the BBs stay in the mag. We'll talk about those in a minute. On the Crosman AK1, this also has last round bolt hold open. I know your traditional AK-47s and AKMs, things like that, do not have last round bolt hold open. As far as modern AKs, I'm not sure. And here in Canada, we're not allowed to have AKs. They're just too scary for a civilian to own. So I have no experience with an actual AK or AK variant. So if you know if modern AKs actually have last round bolt hold open, please let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear about it. Okay, getting back to the AR-15 air rifle. This also has a collapsible stock that you can adjust for your length of pole. It's got this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 settings to adjust your length of pole. The overall weight and feel of these air rifles is similar to that of their real equivalents. Well, at least the AR-15 is. I'm assuming the AK is similar in weight, but I'm not 100% sure. So again, take that with a grain of salt and do with it as you will. The magazines for both air rifles function the same. They both carry and load the BBs the same way in the front here, and they both house the 2 CO2 cartridges the same way as well, just a different shape and size to them. I'll bring you in for a close-up and we'll take a look at them a little closer and show you how they work. Both air rifles come with a handy speed loader. The BBs are refilled in the top behind the plunger. To use the speed loader, you push the plunger down to load the magazines with BBs. I'll demonstrate that for you. It's the same for both magazines, so I'm just going to do it with the magazine for the AR-15 air rifle. As you can see, there's a follower, and you use the little tip on the front of the speed loader to push the follower all the way down. And once it's all the way down, you use your thumb to hold the back of the speed loader. There's a little flat piece coming off, and then you just push down on the plunger. And as you can see, BBs are being loaded into the magazine. You just keep pushing down on the plunger until the magazine is full. And then the spring will move up to secure the BBs within the magazine. You can also hand load BBs into the magazine by pulling down on the follower, and you can put the BBs right in there. And it's a little more tedious than using the speed loader. The magazines hold 2 12-gram CO2 cartridges each. However, the air rifles will function with only one. I'll demonstrate now how to load the CO2 cartridges. I'll open both magazines, but I'll only demonstrate with one. So to get into the compartment for loading the CO2 cartridges, there's a little door on the side of the magazine you just pull up on and pull out. And you'll notice inside the magazine there's a handy little Allen key that clips into place. And that's used to tighten the CO2 cartridges inside the magazine. It is recommended that you use Crosman Pelgon oil. The Pelgon oil protects the seals and lubricates the moving parts in the magazine and the air rifle. All you do is place a drop of the Pelgon oil onto the top of the CO2 cartridge. So your CO2 cartridge, so before you load it, you'll just take the cap off and just put a drop right there on the top of the air cartridge. It is important to note that you need to load the magazine with the CO2 cartridge on the left side first. If you do not, and you load it on the right side, as soon as you tighten up the nut on the bottom and puncture the tip of the CO2 cartridge, the CO2 is just going to come right out the left side where the left CO2 cartridge would have been. This is how you would load the CO2 cartridge as well if you're only loading one. You make sure it's on the left side, and it's marked on both magazines. It says first, as a reminder. And then once both CO2 cartridges are in, you tighten the nut on the left side first, and then you tighten the nut on the right side. Once that is done, you just put your Allen key back in the magazine and put the cover on, and you're ready to go. The AR-15 air rifle magazine holds 25 BBs, and the AK1 air rifle magazine holds 28. For the money, both these air rifles are a lot of fun to shoot and inexpensive to shoot as well. You're not going to be able to shoot at any great distance or, have the same effects on targets as you would with cartridge-based rifles. But for just simple plinking, they're a lot of fun. My daughter and I have had a lot of fun with these in the garage. I have a special backstop I built that will capture the BBs, and we'll go out there and we'll target practice together and have a lot of fun. It is important to note, however, that these air rifles do not operate very well in cold weather. When I was filming, it was just about 1 or 2 degrees above 0 in Celsius, which is quite cool, actually. And they kept freezing up. So during shooting, I had to keep my truck running with the heat on. And every couple magazines, I need to take the air rifle and the magazine and put it in the vehicle to warm up. Now, normally, I would not have this issue. I've never fired these in the winter time before. Typically, my daughter and I only use these in the garage. And my garage is heated, and we don't have any freezing up issues or malfunctions. They've worked flawlessly so far to this date. All right, now the reason why I made a video about air rifles. For those of you who don't know, the Liberal government came out with Bill C21 in May of 2020, which is essentially a gun ban. It started out prohibiting any, well, they call assault-like, but modern sporting rifles, anything that looked scary or looked like something a police force or military would use in the guise of public safety. In late summer of this year, the Liberal government imposed a handgun freeze. So at this moment, you are not allowed, as a civilian in Canada, to purchase a handgun. But those of us who own handguns in Canada, we're lucky enough to keep ours for now. However, the catch is that when I die, instead of being able to pass on my handguns to my daughter, when I die, the RCMP will come pick those up and they'll be destroyed. And then just recently, the Liberal government added a massive amount of firearms to Bill C21 that are now prohibited. These include any center fire rifle that is semi-automatic. And also, there is some very loose legislation on bolt rifles and pump shotguns, which are used for hunting. Some of those have been deemed prohibited, yet they're just hunting rifles and bird shotguns. But for some reason, they look too scary, or the government is just starting to do what they're eventually going to do and take all firearms. So, the reason I made this video is just to show you air rifles. In Canada, this is not considered a firearm. Now, Bill C21 and the handgun freeze they're all under the misleading guise that our government is making this country safer for the public. They couldn't be further from the truth. The reality is, almost all firearm crimes are created by criminals. And the RCMP has made comments this past year that the real problems with firearms in Canada comes from gangs in the drug trade and the illegal importation of contraband firearms. And those are the firearms used in these crimes. So, what does that have to do with us law-abiding gun owners in Canada? Absolutely nothing. Last thing, what I'd like to leave you with is this thought. When our government will stop at nothing to take absolutely every firearm away from its citizens, what rights are they planning to take away next? If you've made it this far in the video, I greatly appreciate you taking your precious time just to watch my video. I really appreciate it very much. Thank you. If you've liked this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. And if you're enjoying it, why not like it? Thanks for watching. Get out there and get good.